Hey guys, this is a quick video on gas tanks in early 1968 Beetles. I'm doing some maintenance on mine and I thought I could help out somebody else by providing some information that I've learned while doing the work. So for the first half of 1968, Volkswagen used an unusual gas tank design that was changed in mid-1968 and for later Beetles. Why they changed it, I don't know, but for those of us who have this earlier style gas tank, we need to do some maintenance on it now and again, and here's some information that might prove helpful. So unlike later gas tanks, where you have the vent line for the tank next to the fuel filler line, the vent line on these tanks is way over here. This rubber fitting, which attaches to the nipple coming from the gas tank and to the vent line, is still available. CIP1 sells this part. It's about $10. I know it's available in Europe as well. You can see there's two clamps used for this part. Getting this part on is a pain. This vent line here has a flare on the bottom. How they managed to install this fitting with a flare on it, on this pipe, I don't know. I suspect they may have flared it after they put the fitting on, but basically I ended up cutting the flare on the end of this pipe off to replace this part. It's not a big deal. This part is good rubber. It's made in Germany. The clamps are tight, so I don't have to worry about any fumes coming up because I removed that little flare at the bottom. But to put this on, it's easier to attach it to the tank first. Make sure you use some silicone lubricant. Attach it to the tank first, and then slide the pipe into the top, and then clamp it off. You can see there's two clamps here, one for the bottom connection, one for the top. I prefer to use these Eddiker style crimp clamps because they provide a nice tight permanent clamp, and it's also even pressure all the way around, unlike the screw type clamps, which have pressure points and can back off with time. The downside is you have to get the right size clamps because these only clamp certain diameters. The top clamp here is what's called a 21 millimeter clamp, which means that out of the box, unclamped, it has a 21 millimeter diameter. The lower one is a 30.1 millimeter diameter clamp. So this pipe, which is 16 millimeters in diameter, comes over here, and there's a little bracket welded to the inside of the car for support, and then there's this bracket here for support. This attaches to one of the fender bolts on the car, this one right here, and you'll notice if you have this style gas tank, you should have one fender bolt that's longer than the others, and it's the longer one you use for this clamp. The clamp, I slightly modified the clamp because it was in the wrong place when I bought the car, and it was rubbing against the corner of that pipe there. And then I realized later the clamp actually didn't belong on that fender bolt. It belongs on this fender bolt. So we have a T-fitting here with three hoses coming off of it. Again, this pipe is 16 millimeters. If you can get 16 millimeter fuel line, that's great. Here in the US, it's a little more difficult, but 5/8 inch fuel line is 15.9 millimeters, so it fits just fine. And you can buy this by the foot at Napa Auto Parts for $2.50 as of October 2019. So you can see I've used the crimp style clamps on each piece of hose. Those are 25.6 millimeter clamps, okay? This hose here, well, in the middle there's a T-fitting. That T-fitting is still available aftermarket. This one is the original, it's still good, so I reused it. The vent line here, the small one, is 3.5 millimeter Volkswagen vent line. It's the same line you would use to connect the carburetor to a vacuum advance on your distributor if you have that. So the deal with this 3.5 millimeter vent line is it has to rise higher than the gas tank itself. And the way Volkswagen does it is they run it behind the dash. So you can see it just kind of sits behind the dash. It's a little hard to see in this part, but you'll see it comes down here. I have it tie wrapped right there to the pipe that for the front compartment cover open. You know, the pull knob for opening the front compartment, and it runs down right there and exits the car. I got about 5 inches of hose sticking out the bottom of the car, and that's the way that you vent these gas tanks. Now the big problem with these gas tanks is the fuel filler hose, because on these the connection here at the car is round like you would expect. the connection over here is oval. Why they did it like this, I don't know, but this fuel filler hose is not available anywhere. So if yours is bad, you're probably going to have to replace the whole gas tank with the newer design so you can get the newer design filler hose, which is available. But if your filler hose is good, like mine still appears to be, then you can replace everything else and not have a problem. You can keep using this tank. So hopefully this has helped somebody. If it has, let me know. Thanks and have a great day.